So the 10-minute topic today is KPIs, key performance indicators. These are how you measure your business. If you are not measuring most of what I'm telling you, you really have no idea if your business is going well, and if something goes wrong, how to measure what went wrong. I can't tell you how often somebody shows up at Investor Fuel and is doing well, right? They started a year or two ago and making a couple $100,000 a year, thrilled. And when you ask them for their numbers, they have no idea. They have no idea how many leads they got. They have no idea how many deals it takes, how many leads it takes to get a contract, how many deals it takes to how many leads it takes to close a deal. They don't know what their cost per lead is for different channels. These are things that have to be indicated, have to be measured. You can only improve what you measure, and you can only find a problem when you have these numbers. So we track a whole series of KPIs. Let me just put up my scorecard here, and let me tell you what we track. So we track leads, how many leads we get per channel, what our cost per lead is, so our cost for each channel. We track how many appointments we get for each channel. So that means every single way we market, right? We market to certain lists, we track each one of those. We have a different phone number for each of those lists. We text, we call, everything gets tracked. How much did it cost to get it, and how much do we pay per lead? How much do we pay per appointment? Are we making offers for every appointment? How many contracts we get? How much does a contract cost? A total return on investment for all of our marketing, and obviously a return on investment on each of the marketing channels. So we have to keep track of that. How many leads per contract, cost per contract, average profit per deal per channel. Everything gets tracked per channel, right? Because we want to know what we should be spending money on marketing on, right? That's clear, right? If one channel is completely outperforming another channel, maybe we dump that channel or we fix the channel. Maybe there's something we're doing wrong in that channel, right? If our texting leads stink, right? We've gotten rid of a lot of marketing channels over the years because they weren't producing anything. We tried Facebook marketing. It didn't work for us. We didn't get enough of a return. We tried pay-per-click and we didn't get a great return on it. So you don't know these things unless you're tracking them. You need key performance indicators to know that. You have to track everything. It's as simple as a Google sheet. It's not brain surgery, but you have to know how many leads you're getting and leads over time. How many leads you're getting this month? How many leads you're getting this week? You have to track that. And conversion. How many leads are you able to convert? People that don't do this really don't have a business. If you're not measuring these things, you don't know. And when something changes, right? If something dramatic changes, like when we started with pay-per-click, we hit some huge home runs on that right away. I'm talking about six-figure wholesale deals. But after a while, we weren't even getting leads on the channel. Nothing. Crap. I mean, almost every lead was junk. So we decided to jettison the channel. And we saw that mail was still doing well. So we took our money from pay-per-click and we put it into mail. We're still doing mail. And I don't see any other way to do the business. I mean, the other thought is just throw all these things at it and we do okay. I mean, I've heard so many people say to me, we do okay. So we don't track our numbers, and I don't get it. I don't know how you do that. Now, to be fair, some of these people were franchisees in a group that does the marketing from them. So if they're not really doing the marketing, if you're just writing a check every month, it's easy to track simple things. But that's one of the reasons why a lot of people that do that are not happy, because you're not in control of it. So to be in control of each of these channels, you need to track them, right? It's one of the reasons why we're big fans of CallRail, where you have different tracking numbers for every campaign. Right? We had a different phone number when a pay-per-click lead called us. We have a different phone number for every single list that we buy and mail to. They get a different phone number on the card. When that lead calls in, we know exactly where it came from. So those are crucially important things to track. I'm not even sure how you can find the problem when things don't go well. Like, we know that our average leads to deal has gone up. It was about 20 leads and now it's like 23 leads. So that could be a combination of factors. Either we're not converting as well, or the leads aren't as good. So we have to analyze it. Are some of the channels doing well, some of them not? So these are the kinds of things that you only know if you have KPIs and you track them. It's literally a simple spreadsheet to track it. You should break it down. We break it down by month, but it's very important that you track your key performance indicators. If you're not tracking them, I just don't know how you know what's going on in the business. So there, one of the things that we should track that we don't is time, right? And we have it's difficult for us to track it. But we can track how long it takes from when we spoke to the lead to when we get a contract. But very often that's something that's completely out of our control. So we might talk to a lead for 2 years and then they decide to sell to us. But one of the things that we don't track is the time that when a lead says yes to us to when we close. Another thing that we're trying to track, but it's hard, is from when we spend money on marketing to when we get paid. I think that number, as sick as this is going to sound, is about 10 months. I know that's nuts. I tell people this in other markets and they think we're out of our mind. But New York is really, really slow. So a lead says yes. So you spend money on marketing. It takes time to get that marketing. Then you got to work the lead. The lead finally says yes, let's say 2 months later. Now, if you're in North Carolina, you're going to make money on that lead in a month. You're going to get under contract in a day, and you're going to wholesale it to some other guy, and a month later you're done. But here, a lead says yes to you, and then got to get an attorney. And then the attorneys start negotiating, and then it goes under contract. And then it takes time for you to find a buyer. And you find a buyer if you're wholesaling it, and you're deciding whether you should close on it or not. That's months. And then you don't get paid if you close until you sell it, and that takes months. So we're trying to cut that down by wholesaling instead of full-blown rehabs. Our time is definitely getting shorter, but it's still about 10 months. Now, again, why it's very hard to track is because you could spend money on marketing today, and you might get a lead off of that in 3 years, right? So I can't tell you how many people say, I got your post. I mean, we do multiple mailings, and like we get calls from people who, when I look, we didn't mail them for 6 months. So they got our postcard 6 months ago, and they're calling now. That happens. So it's hard to track that number. I wish I could. I wish I could track it effectively. I need to do more tracking. The truth is our KPIs aren't as robust as they should be. We should be tracking time because time is really a killer in this business. It's hard to stay consistent when you're spending money on marketing, a lot of money, thousands and thousands of dollars every month, and you have a slow month, and you're tempted to slow the marketing down, but you can't. You got to feed that beast if you're convinced it's right. So again, if you're not tracking your key performance indicators, you don't know where to put your money, right? You don't know what you should be spending money on. There's always going to be a hot new thing, right? Right now it's texting. We're in almost October of 2019. It's texting now, right? Texting's great, but texting may get shut down by the carriers or cold calling. There's going to be something new that comes out in the next few months for sure. There always is. And the question is, should I invest in it? Should I put money into it? And you have to really analyze what your channels are. Right? Every day I'm sort of tempted to go back into Facebook, even though we pissed away thousands of dollars on it. But I sort of feel like maybe we could do it differently or better. I don't know. But the question is, without KPIs, you wouldn't know how many leads it takes to get a deal in each channel. So the people that I know that do, there are people who run their entire business on Facebook. But when you talk to them about numbers, they talk about like 60 leads to get a deal. That's a lot of leads. It's a lot of people to talk to. So if you're not tracking KPIs, right, if you're just throwing all your leads together and saying, oh, it takes me 25 leads to get a deal, you would know that your mail leads are only 10 to 1 and your Facebook leads are 40 or 50 to 1. You don't know that if you're not tracking it. So we track as much as we can. We probably should track more regarding time. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, we probably should. But if you don't have a handle on your key performance indicators, if you can't look at something right away and see what's going on, then you can't fix it when something goes wrong, and you can't maneuver when something changes. For the people that are texting today, and there are people that have their entire businesses on texting, if some kind of regulation comes out or the carriers find a way to block those texts, they're going to need to find another channel, and they're going to need to compare it and see what it's worth. And maybe there'll be a new text provider, service provider, that will be able to avoid those problems. But you need to analyze it and see what it's worth. The most important thing to track really is your cost per leads and cost per deal, to know how much that is, and your average profit per deal, right? That should be a multiple. I mean, for us, we spend about we spend about $8,000 to get a deal, but we average over $30,000 in profit. So it's almost a 4-to-1 return, and that's really where you need to be in this business to even think about continuing. So before you start, you need to just come up with a basic spreadsheet and make sure that you're tracking your key performance indicators.